I gave my son the worst advice and messed up royally. So, this all happened yesterday at the dinner table after school. The after effects of my royal screw up have me currently at the emergency room getting my son checked out for anaphylactic shock. Yesterday, my kid came home and was obviously upset. So I asked him what was wrong. He's 8, so he still talks to me about this stuff. He proceeds to tell me that at lunch, another kid in his class is bullying him about his peanut allergy, saying that he's faking his allergy and that he's going to wipe some peanut butter on him to prove that he is faking. My kid says to him that he isn't faking and that could die just from touching peanut butter. The other kid said he didn't care and that he wanted him to die anyway. At this point, my kid said that he told the teacher and the lunchroom monitor, who both know about his allergy, and they were able to intervene yesterday. I had a long talk with my kid about doing the right thing and telling the teacher and not letting this other kid make him lash out. Then we talked about the hard part. Now, I'm sure I'm going to generate some hate with some people here with what I told him next, and that's fine. We are allowed to have differing opinions, but I'm not apologizing to anyone for teaching my kid to stand up and defend himself. After we talked about doing the right thing and doing everything you can do to avoid a bad situation, I told him that sometimes you have to do the wrong thing to protect yourself, and that should always be the absolute last resort. When he asked what I meant, I told him that if that kid, as long as the bully is only taunting him with words, then he should always walk away. But if he ever did try to put peanut butter on you, then you hit him as hard as you can with the side of your hand in the throat, kind of like a karate throat chop. Then you stop unless the bully keeps trying. Fast forward to this very afternoon, and I get a call from the principal of the school saying that my son assaulted another student and needed to be picked up. I asked what happened, and of course they won't talk about it over the phone. But I smiled a little bit because I already knew. I get to school, and I see my kid sitting in the office, tears streaming down his face. So I walk in, and the principal tries talking to me, but I blow right past her and ask my kid what happened. He says the bully had peanut butter on his fingers and he was threatening to wipe it on his face. Then my kid said that he did what I told him to do and hit the kid in the throat because he wiped peanut butter on his arm. I looked at his arm that was pretty swollen up and asked him if he was having trouble breathing. Kid said he was fine, just a little shaky. At this point, the principal interrupts, saying, "Mr. So and so, we can't just have kids hitting other children just because they had a little peanut butter wiped on them. Kids do this kind of thing. We're going to have to suspend him for a few days." It's obvious to me that principal is clueless about the peanut allergy. So I cut her off and asked my kid if he told the bully to stop before he hit the other kid. He said, "Yes, I yelled at him several times that I'm allergic to peanut butter and told him to stop. And he just kept acting like he was going to wipe it on me." Now, the principal has a shocked look on her face. I asked to see the video from the cafeteria, and sure as hell, my kid can be seen and heard screaming and trying to back away from his bully. At the point where it looks like the bully grabs my kid's arm, my kid yells at the top of his little lungs, "I told you to stop." Then he grabs the bully by the arm, pulls him towards himself, and executes the best clothesline I've ever seen anyone do and floors this kid. Then my kid sits down and starts crying in the middle of the cafeteria. At this point, I tell the principal that if my kid isn't allowed back at school tomorrow, I was consulting with a lawyer about the attempted murder of my son. I also said that assuming he didn't have any other ill effects from this, I would be fine not pressing charges against the school and the bully since it looks like he may have already learned his lesson. Since I didn't get a response, and it's been about half an hour since the peanut butter was wiped on my kid's arm, I picked him up and left to take him to the emergency room to get checked out. About 10 minutes ago, I got a phone call from the school board superintendent saying that the school board has decided to let my kid come back to school tomorrow. Update. So apparently I can't add more at this point. So here is the rest of the update. I just left the meeting, which wasn't with the school board as I was led to believe on the phone. It was with the principal and a legal representative from the school board. I had a lawyer with me and prior to this meeting, and we discussed what I wanted out of this meeting. My main concerns were zero, making sure that there was a procedure in place to keep allergens away from my child, and ensuring that this child has no ability to assault my child again. I also wanted to know how it was that the principal wasn't informed or aware of my child's allergy prior to trying to tell me that he was going to be suspended. Lawyers talked legal stuff for a little bit while I listened and principal listened. Eventually my turn to talk came, and I simply explained the points I made above. I also asked why principal didn't take time to assess the whole situation. The explanation I got was that she was told by the monitor that it was almond butter, not peanut butter, by the monitor, so she really didn't look further into it. Which I can understand her point, but it doesn't make things any better from my perspective. So cut and dry stuff first. The bully child has been moved to a different school. Unfortunately, I don't have any legal recourse to find out which school he has been moved to, and frankly, I don't care. The cafeteria monitor has been fired. I didn't hear this at the meeting, but my son's teacher called last night after school and told me. I asked why, and I was told that she was distracted by her phone when all of the commotion started, which explains why this was allowed to progress in the first place. Based on the recommendation of a friend, and many of you via the messages you sent, I requested and was accommodated with an allergy free table at our school, and I'm being told every other school in the district will be implementing one as well, where children with known allergies will eat lunch at, and anyone who eats with them will have their lunches inspected by a teacher and a monitor to ensure no allergens are present. And now, the weird stuff. The kid probably did wipe almond butter on my son. The kid's parent found out through a mutual friend where we lived and showed up at my house last night. The bully kid was very apologetic to me and asked if he could apologize to my son, which I said, of course, to. I invited the parents and son into the living room, and this child started crying and said he didn't mean to hurt my son. My son started crying as well and said he didn't want to hit him, and he apologized as well. Then the parents asked bully child to explain what happened. So apparently this kid likes peanut butter and almond butter and has almond butter on a sandwich and little pack of peanut butter in his lunch for crackers. Bully child thought it would be funny to continue to tormenting from yesterday, said something about putting peanut butter on my son and put a little bit on his fingers to make him think it was peanut butter. Then he wiped them off afterwards and got some of the almond butter from his sandwich, and that's what was on his hands when he grabbed my son's arm. I can only guess that there was a little peanut residue left on the bully's hands when he grabbed my son, which explains the subdued swelling reaction. I asked the kid if he knew what a peanut allergy actually does to a person, which to the other parents' credit, they had actually made him read WebMD about it, and he explained the whole inability to breath and some other things his mind grasped onto. So I took the opportunity to show this young man the EpiPen needle. We have one that we've had to use previously just for show and tell purposes, and that you have to stick a person within an anaphylactic shock scenario. Then I gave him the trainer unit and showed him where it goes and how to press the button. Yes, I told him it was the trainer unit, but I really thought hard about not telling him. I ultimately decided against that because that wouldn't make me any better than the bully kid in front of me. When the button actuated, I think he jumped about 15 feet in the air and he was obviously scared. The parents apologized again, as did the bully kid. I told all of them that I was satisfied that a lesson was learned here and I wouldn't be pursuing any additional charges against the kid or his parents. Yeah, I know you can roast me for it with downvotes. As the parents and bully kid are leaving, my son runs right past us all and gives the bully a hug and tells him that he hopes he isn't into much trouble. I was asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement, which I of course declined. I want my options open to me in case something like this happens again,